All right, Jeff Zimmerman here with lightweight sensation Abdullah Mason. He's on a stack card this Saturday in Riyadh, fighting Sam Noakes for the vacant WBO lightweight championship. How you doing, Abdullah?
I'm doing great and prepared. Just locked in until fight day.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to talk to you. You're one of the hottest young fighters in the sport, burst onto the scene just like 3 or 4 years ago, and now fighting for your first world title. This is like Mike Tyson type stuff, man, at 21. Talk about the journey a little bit.
The journey has been growth since the beginning. It's been a enjoyable journey. Alongside my brothers and my father. They've been helping me grow along the way and prepare for this moment. Fight by fight. So becoming a world champion at this age, is a huge thing to accomplish for me in boxing. And coming from where I'm from, Cleveland, Ohio, that's big. So I'm just excited for it.
Yeah, and you're so poised and you're so like mature at such a young age. Where does that come from?
It comes from the growth, we taking it one step at a time, and one day at a time, and each day is, a day to get better at what you do, and not just boxing, but in anything.
Yeah, yeah. You're fighting a guy, Sam Noakes, from the UK, undefeated guy. Um, what is he, 17 and 0 or 19, 17 and 0, 15 knockouts, very similar to your record.
Yeah,
What do you know about this guy and any concerns he brings to the table that you got to be aware of?
I know that me and him are both in the same, parts of our career. This is both of our first big tests. But similar record, and I definitely know that he has, a lot of. He's coming with power, so he's known for his strength, his durability, and I can't wait to see what it brings Saturday.
Now, a few fights ago, you got dropped a couple times in the first round, maybe more or less flash knockdowns, and you came back and stopped the guy. What did that do for you as a fighter going through this growth and now taking on a guy who is a knockout artist like yourself in the biggest fight of your career?
Yeah, that fight was an amazing fight because it showed everything on the side of the good that came out of it. On the side of the growth part, it showed you the resilience. It shows you the poise I had during that moment, and stand out in on my corner. So it just shows you the preparation and the levels that I can go. Being a fighter, and just the instincts that were brought out that night. Well, I forget the second part to your question, but from what I remember, yeah, that's that fight that it brought a lot of growth and prepared me for this moment even more.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. Just like getting, every fighter gets dropped from time to time, unless maybe you're Canelo or something, but just getting off the canvas and then taking it to the guy and stopping him, so quickly.
Could you say that one more time? You were breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, I was just talking about just, going on, getting dropped, going to the canvas, and then getting up and then stopping this guy so
Yeah,
quickly.
yeah. It was definitely a turn up moment. It made me turn up a little bit, and you see, I got him out of there in the next round. So, I'm ready for it.
Yeah, so let me ask you something. You were on Keyshawn Davis's undercard. He kind of put you on the spot. He didn't make weight. He was about 4 pounds over, and now it's almost like a full circle moment. Now you're fighting for his vacant belt. Um, would are you and Keyshawn cool at this point, or whatever came out of that?
Yeah, I'm cool with everybody. I'm cool with everybody, but it's boxing, and you got to be prepared for what comes in boxing. And whoever's in my division, I'm ready to face, and however that comes, I'm prepared for it. So for me, it's that's the business of boxing, and you got to be ready for whatever. And I'm ready to face whoever. And right now, with Sam Noakes in front of me, so he's the one that's going to open the door to me facing these other champions. So that's who I'm focused on right now.
Yeah, there was and I'm here with Abdullah Mason, one of the top young fighters in the world. Everyone gives you like glowing accolades, deservedly so. Kid Austin, there was some footage of you. I believe it was leaked out sparring another guy who's on the rise, trying to do exactly what you're doing. He's had some injury setbacks of late, but talk about that experience with him and does that help your confidence going forward fighting another guy, even though it's just sparring?
I mean, that's, they, that's something that they do. They talk about sparring and whatnot. We sent them an offer. That's old news. They didn't want to accept the fight, so we moved on to the next, and we moved on to bigger and better. And Sam Noakes is someone who's a better opponent, and he's coming to fight just like I'm coming to fight, and I can't wait to see what it brings.
Yeah, you mentioned bigger and better. You're arguably in one of the most stacked divisions. I mean, that whole 135, 40, 47. I mean, everything's so interchangeable nowadays. 154, obviously is super stacked. We had Boots and Virgil, or I'm sorry, Virgil and Lubin and Boots on the horizon. But talk about the top dogs, at least as we sit today. You got Shakur, WBC. You got Tank. We don't know what's going to happen with Tank, but would you like to get those guys in the ring eventually?
Yeah, and you got Abdullah Mason who was coming up on that scene as well. So, this is a door opener to whatever else I want to do. And after this fight, we're gonna talk it over with top rank in the team and my management, Jay Prince, and we're gonna move forward from there. But this is I'm right there at the top with those guys. So, this fight is solidifying that. And after that, whatever route we're going to take, I'm going to be prepared for it. And I'm excited for it to come, just like I know y'all are.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me ask you, Abdullah, Hall of Famer Tim Bradley, who you probably know pretty well, has done a lot of your fights. He said that you're going to be the guy that in the Who Needs Him club, and that's a compliment because you're so dangerous and so good that you're going to get that belt and everyone's going to turn the other way. What do you say to that?
It lets you know how he sees things, as someone who's been in boxing for that long and, who's been a world champion. And I believe he was unified world champion at 140 at one point. And it lets you know how he sees things and the good that he sees in my career and, in my skill set. But, whether they turn the other way or not, I got an appetite for smoke. So, I got to be prepared for them to come my way, once I grab the title.
Yeah. What is your goal in the sport, Abdullah? I mean, you're young, 21, you're fighting on David Benavidez's, the Mexican Monsters card. He's talking about going another 10 years and he's I think just now 28, but what is your ultimate goal in boxing?
My ultimate goal is to, just take it one step at a time and keep graduating. I feel like, whatever I put my mind to, I could accomplish that in the sport. Right now is, becoming a world champion at my age, being the youngest active world champion this Saturday, inshallah. So, whatever next steps comes after that and whatever I want to accomplish, within my range, I feel like I'll be able to do that, but first things first, we're going to take it one day at a time and, keep being the best.
Yeah, David said, I talked to David last week, and he says he expects you to make a statement. He's been
Yeah.
following your career and had a lot of great things to say about you.
David Benavidez?
Yeah, the Mexican Monster.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I like David as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Another great fighter. I don't know if you saw the news. It was kind of reported last week, but we'll switch gears a little bit, but Anthony Joshua is now fighting Jake Paul in a sanctioned fight,
Hmm.
8 rounders, 10-ounce gloves. What's your take on that?
It's interesting. It's definitely interesting, yeah.
You, Does Jake have any shot in beating a guy like AJ?
I'm not sure. We're gonna see how it goes. I'm a tune into it. Jake Paul, he's from Ohio as well, so I'm gonna tune into that.
Yeah, Jake. Have you met Jake before?
I met him. I met him once.
Okay. Yeah, you both are from
Yeah.
Hawaii, Ohio.
Hawaii. Yeah, I would like to go to Hawaii. Right. I've never been there either.
Well, he should take you to Puerto Rico, which is where he lives now. That's just as nice.
Yeah, my respects to him, wishing him the best.
Yeah. Let me ask you. So, Erickson Lubin, Virgil Ortiz fought last week. Uh, I don't think anybody saw what happened that early in the fight, right? I mean, a lot of people were picking Virgil, but now they're talking about Virgil and Ennis potentially fighting. I talked to Roy Jones yesterday. He said that fight has to get made now. Now, you mentioned earlier the business of boxing and that's already starting to come into play with that fight. But if those two guys get in the ring, how do you see that fight playing out?
That's a fight I'm definitely excited for, but I'm excited for almost all of these big fights. It starts with Saturday. My fight card as well. David Benavidez fighting Anthony Yarde is a world championship fight. Haney versus Brian Norman is a championship fight. Me versus Sam Noakes, both young contenders. Our first time competing for a world champion. That's a championship. This is our first championship fight as well. Then Bam Rodriguez looking to unify or become undisputed in his division. But I'm excited for all these fights. Jerron Ennis, all the above. But first things first is taking care of this business on Saturday.
Yeah, and I'll get you out of here in a minute. I'm here with Abdullah
Yeah,
Mason, one of the top prospects, not even a prospect, world title contender, fighting for a world title, his first one this Saturday. You mentioned Norman Jr. and Devin Haney. Uh,
yeah.
I've been calling that the super fight that no one saw coming, because no one saw that fight. And, it's so intriguing. It's the co-main on your card. I mean, super stack card in
Yeah.
Riyadh. Talk about that fight a little bit and just the contrast in styles and what do you expect?
Oh, it's definitely a style matchup. They both got, you can see, they both got good skill set, uh, good ring IQ. And the way their careers has been unfolding is going to be a good test for both of them to see where they both are. Um, so I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I said to Devin a couple weeks ago, it felt like a high risk, low reward for him because he's been at the mountaintop, undisputed and all that. He begged to differ, saying he's the best in the division. He's got a belt, and he wants to fight the best. They both seem like throwback fighters. You seem like that kind of guy as well.
Right.
Yeah. Um, Last question.
Yeah.
Any fighter that you try to
I'm sorry,
emulate?
your interview is cutting out a little bit, but yeah,
Okay. Can you hear me?
is I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. The Wi-Fi is cutting out a little bit. Say that one more time.
No, I was saying that Brian Norman and Devin Haney both seem like throwback fighters, um, old school kind of mentality. You seem to have that. You're so talented and so forth, but your mindset, you seem kind of that throwback guy. Is Do you agree?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's time to make boxing great again, and I feel like I'm a part of that for sure.
Yeah, I heard you watch a lot of like Sugar Ray Robinson, maybe Sugar Ray Leonard. You go like old school.
Yeah.
Talk about watching guys like that and what you get from it.
Yeah, when I was coming up in boxing, like when I first started, as an amateur and all of that, and even before at the moment when I first turned pro, I didn't watch a lot of boxing, but when I did, that it was those guys, Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard, and when I wasn't watching it, it was just the passion that I had in it, and my father, implementing, what he's seen and what he knows in the sport, and then my brothers as well that add to my game. So it's definitely. those throwback fighters that I watch when I do watch boxing. And I feel like that's what made the sport what it is now.
Yeah, two legends right there. Sugar Ray
Yeah, for
Leonard, Sugar Ray
sure.
Robinson. We'll wrap here. What should we expect on Saturday night, November 22nd in Riyadh? I imagine you're looking to steal the show. Sam Noakes, another knockout guy. What should we expect?
Still the show for sure. Still the show for sure. However that goes down, I feel like it's gonna be the best fight on the card.
All right, man. You heard it here. Abdullah Mason.